Alright, this one's gonna be a little shorter. Probably my shortest one yet. But it's Sunday, so I had to do one. Next week is my last video of this series. I have other stuff planned. I actually have a cover of a song coming out tomorrow morning. I recorded it last night. I just felt like it. And I was trying to record other videos last night too, but that was the only one I ended up being able to do. So I am gonna do other stuff, but next week is the last Fallen World. I can do live streams, they're just not gonna be like here, and they're not gonna be about these types of topics. So if I do a live stream here, it won't be a serious video, it'll just be me doing a live stream for live stream's sake. My serious videos are now going to be much shorter and much more focused on a specific topic. I might even do shorts and also this other series, and I'm still thinking about what to call them. But I'm definitely doing something in place of this. Anyway, this episode is called True Love, and I was just thinking about what it actually means to love someone or something, and I wanted to talk about that. So chapter 1 is called Other Kinds, and we're starting with other kinds of love, because I think what people think of love, you immediately go to romantic, and I want to start, we're going to get to that in chapter 2 and 3, but I want to start by talking about other kinds of love, like friendship or parent to child, things like that. So basically, I think when you genuinely love someone or something, you shouldn't really have expectations. I think if you love a friend and maybe you are surrounded by wonderful people who you love, and you say, wow, these people are really authentic and kind and just wonderful people, what would I do without them? And you're feeling like you don't want to lose them, maybe you're afraid to lose them. And I just want to talk about what that means, because a lot of people have that mentality that if you are surrounded by good people who you have a strong connection with, who you want in your life, that you are going to be afraid to lose them. Same with objects. People get attached to things and all sorts of things, but that doesn't mean that you're nothing without it. You have to keep in mind that none of these things are required to be in your life, none of these people are required to be in your life, and if you can say, I'm honored that you're choosing to be in my life, I'm honored that you want to be, and I'm grateful for it, I'm not acting like you owe it to me, who are you to not be in my life? That's a possessive, needy kind of love, and it's not authentic, it's not real. When someone dies, do you get angry that they left, or are you grateful they were there? You know, I mean, when your kid goes off to college, are you holding on and saying, please, how could you leave me? Or are you saying, they're going on to something else. I'm grateful that they gave me 18 years, but it's time for the bird to leave the nest. You know, I think that's something people generally are used to, because that's a more common thing. Sending your kid off to college, people are aware of what that means. But it applies to everything. You have to be grateful for the time that you got instead of, greedy for more. And if you're constantly, every time you're with people that you love, if you're just afraid that you're going to lose them, you're not really enjoying being in the moment with them right now. And you're not being humble. You're being entitled and acting like you deserve more than what you're getting. And you don't necessarily know that you do. Plus, you're fine without it. You're a whole person. You don't need other people to be in your life in order to be okay. You can stand up on your own. You don't have to lean on people. So, chapter 2 is called Soulmates. And soulmates are an idea a lot of people are aware of. I don't think anybody really understands what it is, though. I shouldn't say anybody, but I think most people understand what a soulmate is. There's been a lot of really unhealthy ideas pushed about, like, have a twin flame and a soulmate, a person that you're supposed to be with. What if you believe in reincarnation through all your lifetimes, or if you don't believe in reincarnation in this lifetime, there's someone who's specifically picked out for you. If you're religious, you believe that God picked out two people and you're supposed to be together. You're like missing puzzle pieces, you complete each other, and you're not whole without each other. None of that is accurate. You are a whole person without someone else. You have a hole inside of you that you're supposed to fill. You're not supposed to find someone else to fill that hole, because what's happening when you do that is that we all have our own workload. We all have things that we're responsible for. We have our responsibilities. Ignore my dog barking. We all have our responsibilities, and you have to know what you're responsible for and what you're not responsible for. You have to stay in your lane and mind your own business. And when you cross those boundaries and you start feeling responsible for things that you aren't responsible for, or when you're neglecting your own responsibilities, you're really just hurting yourself ultimately, and you're probably taking other people down with you. Because what's happening when you neglect your own responsibilities is that you're not doing your own work. You're like the kid who says, I don't feel like doing my own homework, so I'm gonna make this obsessive work person who actually likes doing other work. Like this type A, I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't doing work or active or something. I'm gonna take advantage of that person and just say, you seem to like doing work, why don't you just do my work for me? And they'll be like, okay, sure, and then they do it. Neither of you are staying in your lane. One person is helping when they shouldn't be, and one person is not doing their own work. So it's imbalanced. You both have the same amount of work to do, and if you both do your own work, that's it. But one person's doing 0% and the other person's doing 200%, and you both need to be doing 100%. It should be balanced, and it's that simple. That doesn't mean you can't help each other, but you should not teach a man to fish, basically. And that applies to soulmates too. You shouldn't be expecting to find someone who's going to complete you or who's going to fill that need for someone. If you feel like you're not, there's lots of ways to go about loving someone when you feel like you're afraid that they're going to leave you, or you're afraid to become intimate. You have a fear of intimacy because you've been hurt in the past and you think, well, it's not worth it. Why bother getting close with someone if they're just going to leave eventually? And there's a lot of reasons, I think, to be afraid to get close to someone. You're afraid of detachment, and that's okay. But you have to understand that it's part of life. Nothing lasts forever, and you don't really have a single person who you're meant to be with forever. You have soulmates that maybe you could say you were meant to meet, and you can choose whichever one works the best for you, whichever one is functioning the best and the healthiest. And sometimes there will be relationships that they were supposed to happen. You both helped each other and learned something from each other, but you realized that it just wasn't functioning, and you just maybe grew at different paces, and one person was way up here and the other person's still down here, and then you meet someone who's more on your level. And I think a really important thing to know when you're thinking about soulmates or relationships, you have to make sure that you are not settling for someone who isn't honored to be in your presence, someone who thinks that it's an honor that you're in their life at all, someone who feels grateful every day, every time they're with you, that you're there, and who doesn't take advantage, who doesn't just get comfortable and feel safe and say, oh, well, you must just, we must just be meant to be together. There's this song called Flowers that just came out a few days ago by the artist Marina. You can look it up. And it's about really not settling. And it's like, if you just bought me flowers, maybe I would have stayed. You didn't think I was serious. I guess you felt so safe. And I just think that's a really interesting sentiment. The idea that this one partner feels so safe in the relationship, thinking, we're soulmates, we'll be together forever, how could we not be together, who else would I be with, why wouldn't you want me, why wouldn't I want you, we're just meant to be together, and that's that. So I don't really have to put a lot of effort in. I don't really have to remind you how grateful I am to have you in my life all the time. I don't really have to go out of my way to buy you flowers or to do little things, subtle little things, to remind you that I know that it's an honor that we're in each other's lives, and it's not just something that I'm owed or that you're owed. We both it should be balanced, you know? And if you're both making each other feel like you're honored and grateful to have each other in each other's lives, that's a healthy relationship. Chapter 3 is called Unconditionally, and this is the most important one because I feel like the word unconditional, and when it's applied to love, you say unconditional love, I love you unconditionally, that is often thought of as being a doormat, and that's not the same thing. Loving someone unconditionally means loving them without conditions, without expectation. And there is a lot of unhealthy, patriarchal, societal expectation revolving around relationships and marriage and love and everything. You have to get all of that out of your head. You have to remove the expectations. And to love someone unconditionally, this applies to everyone, not just romance. You think that everyone, we're all made of the same material. We all come from the same place. We're all from the universe, and we're all made of material from the earth, physically. And in a spiritual aspect, we're still all the same, kind of a shared consciousness. We're all connected, and you can't forget that. And it's important to know there are lost people. There are people who get so wrapped up in fear and forget who they really are that they're so buried underneath all of this facade that they don't even know who they are, and they can't sing an emotional song from their perspective, and you're like, oh, actually, hearing it from this person's perspective, I can understand and I feel bad for them, because they have no perspective. I'm talking about people who are capable of murder, people who rape women, men, children, all sorts of things people do to other people that are just absolutely unforgivable and harmful, and you think, this person's a monster. How could you harm a human being? How could you harm a child? How could you murder someone in cold blood? And the answer is that they're not a monster. They're just not there. They're somewhere underneath all that, but they're not there. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't love them. That doesn't mean that you should think of them as an evil, disgusting waste of waste of space, a waste of a person. That doesn't mean that they deserve to burn in hell. But you should pity them and understand that there is a beautiful, loving soul underneath it all, and it's just so buried that it's basically just gone. And I think that's really unfortunate. But it's important to know that when someone betrays you, when someone treats you like a doormat, you have to stand up and say, I'm not a doormat, and neither are you. And you cannot live your life walking all over people and depending on people. And I'm going to show you that you can't do that by cutting you off, showing you that that doesn't work. That's unconditional love. That's saying, you know what, I still love you, but out of love, I have to let you, learn to fish on your own. I can't just do everything for you. And I have to respect myself and have self-love and know that it's okay. Your karma's problem now. I don't have to deal with this myself. That's unconditional love. It doesn't mean unconditional love is I'll love you no matter what you do to me. Unconditional love is I'll love you no matter what you do in general, because I know that you're still underneath it, there's still a loving person. We're all connected. We're all the same. That's unconditional love. The oven is beeping. I have to go turn it off. But I think I've said everything that I wanted to say for this video anyway, so I'm just going to end it. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, if you have questions, go ahead and ask in the comments. Next week is my last Fallen World, and just sing again because I see a couple new people tuned in. Thank you for watching. And this episode, I didn't actually write anything down except the chapter titles, which is why this is shorter. I'm gonna go. This is my shortest video, definitely. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, just don't forget that loving somebody doesn't mean letting them do whatever they want to you. Okay, have a good day. Thank you for watching.